All right, I forgot to get a new cup of coffee, so I'm going to drink cold coffee for this entire lecture. So the things I do for you guys, just so you appreciate it. How do you like my Vermont fall background? We're just about here. I'll maybe run this one for a couple of weeks or variations of it. All right, thank you. Let me get started here. This is week 4, I think, of classes already. So we have, as usual, a lot of stuff going on. Now, why did that do that? Every now and then this goes really bright, and I don't necessarily know why it changes colors every now and then. Well, I know that it's trying to equalize colors, but apparently it doesn't like dark mode. Another issue I have with WebEx. Anyway, here's where we're standing. Your homework 1 was due Sunday. That was a little extra time. Normally it would be due Thursday. We're trying to get back on our Thursday schedule, so homework 2 is due Thursday. Don't wait until the last minute. If you have some time to look at it and kind of ponder things around, I think you'll have a much easier time doing it than if you wait to the last minute and try to submit it. At least look at it tonight, read it over, and think about what you need to do, and that should help you out quite a bit when you get closer to Thursday's deadline. We are in a rapid part of the semester. We have a test a week from Thursday on 10/1. We are currently reviewing the study materials, Professor Mushtaq and I, and we will give you out some study materials on Thursday, along with at least the first cut at how we're actually going to give the test. There are a number of classes that have tests this week. Part of what we're doing is intentionally waiting until they're done with their tests so we can get feedback on a few ideas that have been tossed around the department. So we are not avoiding the topic. We are not hiding anything from you. We're just trying to figure out how we're going to run the test. We've done it the last couple of semesters. We're hoping, every semester we try to improve it a little bit. Yes, we can hear you. We'll talk about. Yeah, I'll get to that in just a second. If you look there, there's please monitor and use the discussion forum. I'm going to go over and show you what's going on. All right. We know that some of you. Okay, so we'll give you more information. That's coming on the tests. We're making a change to the syllabus. We promised to drop 3 lecture exercises. We've decided to increase that to 5, which means every lecture exercise will be worth a little more. But some of you had scheduling problems with the missing lab the second week of class. Things got a little out of sync, and some people have already missed a number of lecture exercises due to just not knowing the schedule. We don't give extensions on lecture exercises. Instead, we drop them, and what we've decided to do is we've decided to give you a couple extra drops. So we will be dropping 5 instead of 3, and hopefully that'll make everything kind of come out correctly. Last, the discussion forum. If we come up to, let's see, presenting slides probably. Yeah, no. Here we go. This is the discussion forum. This is what you all, and in fact, I think this is exactly what the last question was about. You're running your submittee, and it's giving you something that says, let's see if I can pull it here. It says something like this error message. User bin Python 3 can open file part 2, homework 1 part 2.py. I answered this about 15 times personally. I know that Professor Uzma answered it as well, and I think that some of the TAs answered it. There are a number of answers for this one. If you look at all the places where it says merging, you guys got to use the discussion forum. I know it's not always easy, but if you keep reading up on this stuff, we answered the same question just here. It's about 8 or 9 times, and we answered it additional times as well. The problem is that this particular problem, and notice we have in the forum, if I turn off the unread only, we're up to 110, 148 questions. I know that's hard to keep up with, but this made up about 15 of them, right? So we do merge them together and try to give you something that's understandable, and you can always search for, your error message. And I didn't do this ahead of time, so we'll see if it actually works. Yeah, of course not. Bad search term. We're also trying to keep a fact together. We'll try to update that one as we go along. But the key is, if you're emailing us, this is not a problem with Submiti, right? This particular one is not a problem with Submiti. What it is it's a problem with how you're handling the course materials. So if we come down and look at the homework for homework 1, test your code, and when you're sure that it works, please submit it as a file named Homework 1 Part 1 to Submiti for Part 1 of the homework. And you'll see a similar line for Part 2 and a similar line for Part 3. We really need you guys to look at the directions and follow them fairly closely or closely. The problem is that when we get into modules and other places where you're uploading multiple files, we have to look for a specific file name. If we don't, then it's random, or it's actually based on lexicographical order, which file actually gets executed. And that means that depending on how you name your files, your main program may not be the program that gets executed by Python. So we need you to actually submit the file name that we tell you to submit. And that's really what the problem was on this in almost all cases. Go ahead. Yep, that won't work. Right, this is an underscore. There's no dot here. Homework 1 underscore part 1 dot py. This is the PDF for it. I just pulled this up right from the website. Okay, so I'm sorry there was an issue, but this is all right. Any more questions? Okay, go ahead. Mm-hmm. So just section off sections of the code. It's just pretty much what I went over in lecture 6, I think it was, or maybe lecture 5. I kind of walked through it, and we'll walk through it again, in fact, at the end of this lecture, and I'll show you exactly what we're talking about. All right? Yep. Okay, you're welcome. And I'm looking, go ahead. No, we'll have an actual gradable rubric, and there will be line items. It'll probably say something like comments describing what the file does, comments describing function calls, good use of variable names, and then there will be just a little check, and they'll say what ones they're deducting for. Those we go count down, so it'll be you'll get a point off for example, not having a function description or something like that. Yeah, you're welcome. It's the rubric is exactly what I presented in lecture 6. Essentially, if you look at the stuff that I told you we're going to look for, it's what we're going to look for. Let's see. I will be sticking around after class to answer more questions, and I can, if we need to break off, I can break off as well. But let's try to kind of move ahead. I'm reminded that I never actually solved the, or never actually gave you the answer to the question of the day.